Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. I got one of my besties here, one of the most amazing ladies I know. Cherlette McCullough is on the show today. We are here to talk about Black History Month. Cherlette and I also serve together on the Citrus Club Board of Governors, and this is part of that Black History Month initiative. She's also an amazing friend, a great human. She cracks me up. We have a great time when we're together. She's also helping people, which she's going to talk about in a minute. Welcome, Cherlette. How you doing?
I am doing well, Ted. Thank you so much for having me here on the show today.
I'm excited to have you on the show. I love the wisdom you impart to me and Nettie all the time. So I thought it would be real good for the rest of the people to get a little snippet of that. Before we went live, I said we were going to talk origin story. The audience loves to know about you. They want to know kind of your journey. So if you can give them a little 411 on you and your journey, that would be awesome.
Thanks, Ted. So currently, as most of you all know, I'm a marriage and family therapist here in the Orlando area. So I started this journey back in 1999 after graduating from Bethune-Cookman in criminal justice. My bachelor's is in criminal justice. And at that time, I thought I wanted to be a social worker or a probation officer. So I did try both.
Probation officer?
Probation officer with the Department of Correction. Right.
I can't see that side of you, but remind me I don't ever want to see that side of you.
But then I only lasted like 6 months in that whole arena. And then I went over to the Department of Children and Families. And that's where I stayed until about 2010. So I was there as a intake and placement supervisor, as a case manager, as a program director, working in child welfare, which I really love. And to this day, I love that area. And the reason why I fell in love with that area is because so many of the families that I helped, so many families that I met, I could identify with a lot of the things that they were going through. And, you know, it just kept me in that field, you know, forever until I pretty much burned out in 2010 and then clicked over to the clinical side. Well, in child welfare, you know, it's only so much that we can do to help the families and the children. And when I went over to this side, the more clinical mental health side, this is where I feel like I can do my best work in helping families, helping mothers, helping fathers, helping children's teens, and all that stuff to really deal with the root of some of their emotional challenges.
Isn't that where it all goes down to? It's the root, right? So we put a Band-Aid on a lot of things, but if we don't get to the root of it, we keep repeating the same behaviors and the same things begin. It's the whole cycle, which we have talked about, the three of us, many, many times, that cycle. Yes. What's it like now post-COVID? Have you seen an increase in the need for what you do? Have you seen more families being more open to getting the therapy, the help that they need? What's the temperature out there for that?
You know, Ted, that's a good question. During the pandemic, my appointments went up significantly, especially around couples. There was a lot of couples struggling around the pandemic time, mainly because spending so much time being forced to spend time at home. You'll be surprised how many couples, they really love each other, but don't like each other. And they survive by being in different spaces. So definitely during the pandemic, those numbers went up. Now, post-COVID, or coming out of it, I'm still seeing an increase now more for children. A lot of children are going through a lot of emotional challenges around things, anxiety, a lot of depression right now is what I'm seeing. And
what is that stemming from? Is it stemming from the constant rule changes or the lack or forced interaction or the lack thereof?
Mainly the uncertainty, Ted, not knowing where we are. I mean, we hear a lot of the statistics on the news. We read a lot, but really not knowing where we are. And most of us, Ted, have experienced a lot of loss around the pandemic, and it's not gone. No matter how much we say post-pandemic, it's not gone anywhere. And people are really dealing with these things in their families, in their inner circles. A lot of things are happening in people's inner circles, which is causing a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of issues with people struggling whether to live or not.
It definitely, the uncertainty, I think, makes people feel very insecure.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of things get exacerbated by that uncertainty and that insecurity. I always like to ask clinicians, which is what you are, how does Curtis, your amazing husband, do you take clinician stuff and counselor talk home to Curtis? How does that work? I'm always fascinated by a therapist, and I always wonder what the house is like.
Well, you know, it's a part of me.
Stop with it.
Yes, it's a part of me. And there are many times when we are talking out to dinner or in the house or just sitting in the yard, he'll say, don't therapy me. He's saying, don't therapy me. No, don't ask me like that. Because, you know, my husband is a deputy. So he's always helping people too. And so when he shared things with me, I'm like, you know, trying to give him, you know, interventions that will help. And he's like, no, don't therapy me. Or if we're in a disagreement and I start back and start being very, you know, objective, and he's like, I want to know the real answer, not the therapist's answer.
Stacey, I went to so much therapy. I feel like I 100% can speak it. Yes. But Stacey, whenever we've argued, she's like, okay, I don't want the counselor talk, Ted. Your counselor talking to me, and
let the real you come out.
Yes. You know, I'll say the right words and it's all that pretty language, and she's like, no, I don't want to hear it. It makes her so mad. Oh my God. So I have learned over the 31 years to try to not counselor talk her too much. Let's talk about.
It comes out. It just comes out.
It just comes out. I mean, I learned it. So I'm a childhood domestic violence survivor. So that kind of survival skill, it's just a natural thing. And then with therapy, I learned how to hone that to mitigate and minimize whatever crazy situation was going on. And so it's just a natural thing.
Yeah, same with me. The whole thing around managing my anger, you know, I'm a recovering rageaholic. So my thing is when I start feeling that, I go into my therapy mode. You know, I use my tools and like, okay, calm down.
Exactly.
And you know, your mate can notice that. It's like, stop.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just.
She's like, you're. What does she say? You're redirecting me. I'm like, absolutely, I'm redirecting you. This can't be my fault. Oh yeah, I'm not a good fighter.
Let's reframe this whole conversation here.
Let's talk about Black History Month. It's so important. February is Black History Month for those of you who don't know. Tell me, do you celebrate in your household? And if you do, how do you celebrate?
So we do celebrate Black History Month in our household. We do a lot of around the house. I have a lot of Black inventions around the house. And I also have a calendar that I use that I get every year that has all of the inventors and all that stuff, Black History Month. I have that calendar up, and then I go to different events here in our community. And then now I'm on your show for Black History Month. And I just think that Black History Month is so significant for us, you know, because there are so many African Americans, Blacks, however you identify, that contribute so much to this world, so much to individuals. And just to have these 28 days, you know, to really highlight that means a lot to me. It really means a lot.
I think it's important too, and tell me what your thoughts are, bringing awareness. So we joke about it when we're together, and I've said it on the show before, an old white guy doing a Black History Month
which show. I'm very appreciative of, Ted.
Well,
it means a lot.
You know, I'm an ally, which sounds even weird saying, but you know what I mean. Like I
know what you mean.
I know I understand the value and the importance of it. But if you have somebody out there, they don't know. And so these kinds of shows, this kind of awareness allows people to ask questions, to feel good and comfortable asking a respectful, heartfelt question. It's the only way, I think, for us to continue and progress the dialogue. What do you think?
Right. I agree with that totally. And it also gives people the option to know the people that's in their community, how they're contributing to the community now where they live as an African American or a Black person, you know. And there are so many people that don't know. They have heard of Black History Month, but what does it really mean? You know, and I think there are a lot of people that want to know, but some people are afraid to really ask that because they could be looked at as different or looked at as someone just being ignorant, you know.
Correct. People fear what other people will think of them, and instead what it could do is open up the conversation, which is what we need to, in my opinion, continue to do.
And that awareness, Ted, that awareness also brings on a sense of gratitude from other cultures for African Americans or for Blacks. It brings on that feeling of, wow, I am glad you're here versus why are you here? You know, but it brings on that feel of more collaborative approach than
you just said something that reminded me. Before I sent an email to the board, I messaged Cherlette and Annette, who will be on the show tomorrow, I believe.
Yes.
I said, should I say African American or should I say Black? Because I have a lot of friends who are Caribbean Americans who are Black. And so if you say African American, and so it's an interesting thing, but I don't know if I would have had the courage to ask that question if I hadn't been so enmeshed in making sure I'm educated and continue to educate myself. So that's another outcome from Black History Month and being involved and trying to
knowing the difference, though, to even know the differentiate between the two, you know, because someone else may say, why wouldn't everybody identify as Black? Why wouldn't everybody identify as African American? But that is respectful, I think, to be able to tell the difference. Yeah. So
tell me about DE&I. I just have a quick question. DE&I is diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I feel like the equity part has really become super important. It should have been all along. We've heard about diversity and inclusion for a long time. We're making slow steps in that direction.
Slow.
Equity.
But steps.
But it's steps, right? The conversation has to continue. Tell people who don't understand equity, in your words, why that's important. What is equity? Because I think people go, well, we have a diverse board.
Yes.
What is equity actually? Why is that important? How does that come into play?
But I think when we talk about equity, it's not so much about saying, but we're talking about fairness, and we're talking about respect, and we're talking about balance. I think that's what we're talking about when we say equity, you know. And then there are a lot of people that feel like equity is something that should not be important based around gender. I don't believe that. I strongly believe gender has nothing to do with equity. I think that we all deserve that. I think that in our personal lives, in our careers, you know, in different organizations, committees that we serve on, I think it's extremely important to have equity.
Yes, I agree. All right. I've got one last question for you.
Yes.
When I say the word hero, who's the first person that comes to mind?
My mom.
Tell me why.
My mom is my hero because she is someone that I've been with, of course, all my life, but she's someone that I've been able to see her inner struggles and to see the outcome after she's overcome so much, not only being a single parent after a very, very hard divorce, and seeing her lose her mother recently, who was her best friend, who was someone, she was her caretaker, and to see my mom still thrive and do well after retirement, it means a lot. I remember the days when we were very, very financially challenged, and my mom made it through. And to see her on this side, owning things, really taking vacations, really doing things that matter to her, doing the things that she wants to do. And, you know, just seeing her on the other side of that means so much to me. I gained so much strength from her, emotional strength, mental fortitude, you know, to just fight through some of the things that she has had to fight through. You know, my mom dropped out of school in the 11th grade, had my sister, went back in 1994 and earned her high school diploma, and started in the insurance field and made a real lucrative income and changed our lives totally. And just to see her and hear her story and all that stuff, it means a lot to me.
Beautiful. See, I love to ask that question because I think we don't give outside kudos to the people who impact us. And hero always seems to get people. They do have somebody to think of immediately. And I love that. So
I like your question, Ted. That was good.
Thank you. All right. Cherlette. It's right. I should get my own show. This is
yes.
So Cherlette, tell them the best way they can find you, learn more about Centerpiece, which is your company.
Yes.
And reach out and engage you. What's the best way?
Absolutely. So I'm on Facebook, Cherlette McCullough. I'm on Instagram, Cherlette_McCullough. And my website is www.cherlettemccullough.com. And you can also reach me on LinkedIn, Cherlette McCullough. And my phone number is 407-230-4582.
You're amazing. You know I love you to pieces. Thank you for all you do for me and all the stuff you're doing for the community, and certainly for the Board of Governors here at Citrus Club. All right, Cherlette, see how fast that goes? Such
that was
good
it,
stuff. Y'all reach out to Cherlette. Her website is scrolling across the bottom there.
Yes.
And we'll tag her. Reach out. If you've got any kind of issues or things that you want to talk about, I can tell you Cherlette's going to listen. So
absolutely.
Tell Curtis
and
I
if you're
said
struggling
hi.
with life, if you're struggling with the decision to live, please reach out. You can also reach out to our National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and that number is 800-273-8255.
Yep, you're not alone, guys. All right, Cherlette, thank you so much. We'll be back later on. We'll see you.